Oh, we're going? All right. So we've talked about who, we've talked about what, and why. We've talked about who, your audience. We've talked about what they want to become, what they want to learn, what they're afraid of, what they want to get past, right? Their what. We talked about your what lights you up? What do you want to learn more about? What are you an expert in right now? What do you want to become an expert in? What are you willing to put effort into? What are your passions? Combine those two lists. Where they cross, and only where they cross, is where you should be creating content. That is your shared why. That is your shared passion with your audience. The next step is how. How are you going to create this content, right? I like to say when we hit this step, it gets really fun and really creative. And I'm not going to give you an exact blueprint of how your show is going to go. Can't do it. It's not cookie cutter. And that's why if it hits your audience and it's honest, it will resonate. So here's how. There are many types of podcast formats. There is a solo, typically like what I'm doing right now, just one person talking into a microphone or into a camera. There is a team, you and a co-host going back and forth. There is an interview show. There is a host and a guest or multiple guests and a conversation. There's also some maybe long form journalism. You've heard NPR reports or newscasts. That's where a host or a reporter will do a little bit of a voiceover, bring in some clips from different guest interviews, and sort of tie them together in a narrative. So using audio that way. Which one is right for you? Play around with it. Play around with what you like to do, how you like to share content. For me, I like talking to people. So right now I'm trying to pretend that you're on the other side of that camera looking right back at me, because I'd rather have a conversation with one or a few other people. Some people like the solo show, and that's fine. Some people like to put a lot of effort into an episode and do more of the NPR or the journalistic type episodes with a voiceover and then some drops of audio from different people for some different perspectives. Here's the fun part. You don't have to stick with just one type. You can mix it up. I've done that on my show, but I've seen what I like, what I'm going to do. For me, it's a conversation with somebody else. If I see an idea or a concept that really fires me up, I don't wait. I grab my camera, I grab my microphone, I start recording, and I look right into the camera, or I talk just right into the microphone, and I just start sharing insight, a stream of consciousness. And both types of those episodes, me plus a guest or guests, and just me by myself every once in a while, that works for me. I like doing that. It's a pretty good mix. And it resonates with my audience. I hear back from them. They say, hey, that was really great. Keep it up. I got some insight for that. Which one is going to be right for you? It depends. And we love that phrase in healthcare. Test them out. See which ones feel good. Whichever ones feel good are the ones you're going to do, the ones you're going to put effort into. How to decide? Either jump into it and try it, or I typically tell people, what do you listen to? The types of formats that you listen to are typically the ones that you're going to have a lot of experience consuming. So it's going to be fresh in your brain how it works. And they'll typically be the ones that you'll want to produce yourself. It's not a definite, it's not 100%, but those are typically how I tell people to at least start figuring out what type of format you want your show to be. You've got your XYZ statement. You've decided who your audience is. You've given a list of what their whats are. You've done a self-assessment and you know your whats and you know your shared passion. You've got that why. Looking at that list, now I get to say, you get to really start to have creative fun. There's no one way to do this. There's no right way to take the next step. Take a look at that list and pick 3 topics. 3 of those topics that both you and your audience are really passionate and want to learn more about. And those are your first 3 episodes. And take what we learned today in terms of how, and decide how you're going to tell those stories. So your assignment today is go back to your why list and pick 3, just 3. It's completely achievable, 3. And start to begin to just think, how am I going to tell this story? How am I going to inform or entertain on these topics, or bonus points if you can do both at the exact same time? Today's lesson is all about paying attention to how.